Here's a classic AWS interview question. What's the difference between stopping and terminating an EC2 instance, and what happens to the EBS volume in each case? It's a great question because it gets right to the core of how you manage resources and costs in the cloud. So, let's break it down. When you stop an instance, think of it like shutting down your computer for a while. The operating system halts, and the instance goes into a stop state. The important part is that the root EBS volume and any other attached EBS volume stay exactly where they are. You're not paying for the compute power while it's stopped, but you're still paying for the storage. The big benefit is that you can restart it later and pick up right where you left off. Now, terminating an instance is a completely different story. This is permanent. The instance is removed from your account, and by default, the root EBS volume is deleted with it. Unless you've explicitly configured it to keep the volume or you've created a snapshot, all that data is gone for good. Once it's terminated, there's no way to bring that instance back. So, in short, stop is a temporary pause. Terminate is a permanent delete. The billing is also different. When you stop an instance, the compute charges stop, but you keep paying for storage. When you terminate it, all charges for that instance and its default volumes are gone, though you'll still pay for any snapshots or AMIs you've saved. And remember this important detail: if you're using instant store volumes, which are ephemeral, that data is lost whether you stop or terminate the instance. Also, your elastic IP may be released unless it's explicitly reassigned to something else. Let's think about some real-world use cases. A startup might stop its development servers overnight to save money and restart them in the morning. For CI/CD pipelines, you might terminate instances completely after the test runs are finished. In a media rendering farm, you could stop expensive GPU servers between jobs, but you'd always move rendered files to S3 or take snapshots before terminating them to avoid losing work. Accidental termination is a big risk, and it can lead to major data loss. A few key ways to prevent this are: enabling termination protection on critical instances, restricting termination permissions using IAM policies, and always scheduling automated snapshots for backups. Another issue is surprise bills. Many people don't realize that a stopped instance still costs them money because of the attached EBS volumes. The fix is to educate your team and use lifecycle policies to clean up any unused volumes. Sometimes EC2 isn't the best tool for the job. If you find yourself constantly stopping and terminating servers, consider a more managed service. AWS Batch or Fargate are great for short-lived workloads. Lambda or step functions can replace EC2 for event-driven jobs. And if you need to preserve memory state, check out EC2 Hibernate, which saves RAM contents to disk. Finally, be ready for follow-up questions in the interview. Can you change the instance type when it's stopped? Yes, you can stop it, resize it, and start it again. How do you prevent accidental termination? Mention termination protection, IAM policies, and automated backups. What happens to elastic IPs? Explain that they may be released if they're not explicitly allocated. To wrap it all up, show that you understand the fundamental difference, that stopping is for a temporary pause, and terminating is for permanent decommissioning. And most importantly, prove you know how to apply best practices, like using termination protection, IAM guardrails, and automated backups. That's how you give a truly competent and well-rounded answer.